How's it going? Yeah, just classic Bo random drop in, going live tonight. Not totally random though, because it's my birthday, and so I thought, you know what? I've had a great day. There's nothing better than capping it off with a good pipe and some good whiskey. So that is exactly what's about to go down. This stuff right here, Buffalo Trace, the good stuff. Buffalo Trace is a it's tricky. It's either readily available or very difficult to get. One or the other. It depends on where you live, and also depends on where you look. I have found that at kind of some of the bigger places here in Houston, if you're looking for Buffalo Trace, you can't find it. But there's a spot right there, like right around the corner, little shop. Super nice people that work there, kind of hole in the wall. And I walked in, they had Weller, they had Buffalo Trace. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't think I really ever fully appreciated just how much I didn't appreciate this shop until I realized the hookup. So, yeah, picked up a bottle of Buffalo Trace for my birthday, and actually, I just made a very nice old fashioned. Although I'm realizing I didn't stir that up enough. I'm kind of give it the little little jostle to get that where it needs to be. So tonight, with ye old Buffalo Trace, pairing that with some Taps VIP. Keith, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Appreciate that. It's been a good one. I'm going to share a little bit about that in a second. You know, it's been a minute since you like popped it when like it won't pop at first. Like you untap it and oh man, that's like it's fine. This is nice. So I've always thought this had a little bit of like a cocoa-iness to it. Just a tad. And obviously Buffalo Trace has a good kind of vanilla-ness to it. So I thought, you know, let's go a little chocolate and vanilla, a little ice cream, right? A little ice cream with the birthday cake. I don't know what's going on over there. All right. Rocking the Tiberius pipe, the one that Shannon gave me at 500. Good night for it. Man, that is a good smoke. It's been a good day. It's been a good birthday. Woke up this morning. My youngest is very much a, uh, you know, kind of her love language, if you will, is very much kind of creating gifts and also kind of creating experiences. So last night she interviewed me for what I wanted for my birthday, like for breakfast and everything. And my wife and I went out to breakfast this morning. So I told her, I've got this coffee I really like. It's kind of a blend of these two different coffees, and then also some fruit. And so this morning, woke up, they had it all laid out for me on the table and everything, which was really nice. And got to have breakfast with the girls. Sent them off to school. My wife and I went out to breakfast. Found a new place here called Lola in Houston. delicious, fantastic breakfast. First time eating there. I've had it on my like to visit list for some time, and so I was really happy to go ahead and visit it. It's kind of one of those things, you get a list of places you want to go, and sometimes you just want to, you don't know if they're any good or not. You just want to like be able to know like, okay, this is a good spot to go to, or this is maybe someplace not to go to again. But regardless, you want to go there so you can kind of cross it off your list. So this place Lola was on my list for the longest time, and so I was like, it could be the worst breakfast in town, and I will be happy to go on my birthday because I could just take it off my list. But it was fantastic. I had a wonderful omelet there with they said like some like corned beef hash. It wasn't corned beef hash. It was potato like breakfast potatoes, and they sprinkled on some corned beef. But it was good, and some Parmesan grits, which was quite fine. So went there afterwards. Went to my barbershop, which was right down the way from it. Got got clean cut for the birthday and everything. Splurged for one of these like face massages they do to you afterwards and everything, which was whoo, very relaxing. I think I actually fell asleep in the chair while she was doing it. They had like 7 or 8 hot towels that wrapped around me throughout the process and everything. It was real nice. And then from there, came back home, spent some very, very nice quality time with the missus, and got to go to my youngest daughter's end of year celebration. They have kind of an end of year celebration where they hand out little awards and all that kind of good stuff. And so got to do that and celebrate her. Came home, had some homemade caramel cake the ladies made me, which was delicious, with some vanilla ice cream, of course. And uh, after that, took a nap because I'm 39 now. And then yeah, went to cooking. Yo, I made. Let me relight this, and then I'm gonna tell you what I have for dinner because I'm telling you, I went all out. And you'll have to forgive me for the going back and forth here. Mm. This is surprisingly drier than I would have expected. Especially given how tight the cap was. Mm. Keith saying 39's young man. No, it is. It is. It's 39 years young, very much so. Although I've had this mindset about what it means to kind of enter into like the last year of your 30s. I know it's all very arbitrary. But regardless of how things have changed, I do think that 40 is it's a milestone that I think it's good to kind of like mentally prepare for. And so I've looked at kind of this final year of my 30s as kind of being like a preparation, like really wanting to have a good year and kind of prepare for kind of the quote unquote over the hillness of looking at 40 and everything else. But I know it's all very arbitrary. All right, dinner, y'all. I made something very, very special. Thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate that. So I got a beautiful 2 inch thick porterhouse and a center cut sirloin. And so for the porterhouse, did that up and herb butter, made an herb butter kind of mix a couple nights ago. So I had that at the ready and everything. Did that, did kind of the sear, and then put it in the oven to finish it off. And then for the sirloin, did kind of this Italian style mixture of like herbs. Let's use mint and parsley and chili pepper and garlic and olive oil and lemon and salt and pepper, kind of all chopped and mixed together. And you basically what you do is you just kind of cook the sirloin, a couple minutes on either side, and then you get to work on that sauce, that mint sauce essentially, or that herb sauce essentially you make. And you just brush it on there, flip it, brush it on there, and then just kind of let it finish with all of those herbs and spices there. Whew. Yeah, we had a lot of meat tonight. So it was kind of like steak 2 ways, a little bit 3 ways because the filet on the porterhouse cooked a little bit more rare, which was good because honestly the strip on the porterhouse cooked a little bit more well than I would have liked. And then the sirloin was very rare. And so it was a lot of options and it was delicious. And it was just the best way to finish out for a birthday meal. And afterwards, my wife was asking me if I wanted more caramel cake. I was like, I can't. too stuffed, way too stuffed. So I was like, you know what, pipe and a cocktail that's gonna get me right. That's gonna get me right for this evening. I've been appreciating the smoked cocktails a little bit more lately, which has been very nice. And what I find is like smoking the pipe and then immediately drinking an old fashioned is getting kind of that sense of a smoked cocktail, and then vice versa. Like having a smoked cocktail immediately kind of brings you to kind of like that pipe and cocktail mindset. Oh, you know what? In a previous video, somebody said that they didn't believe I had a dog. Come here, Isaac. I mean, I know they were just kidding, but saying that Isaac needed to make her way on the live stream here. Come here, girl. Hey, no, over here, over here. All right, she's being shy. Oh. Yep. Hi. Yeah, she's in exploratory mode. She does not want to say hello. She does not want to say hello. But yeah, so as I mentioned, I was kind of being a little reflective on kind of the notion of 39 and looking ahead to 40. That's been like a big thing for me, I think, over the last couple of days. As I know many of y'all are well past this kind of this phase and whatnot, and there's so very much more life to live and that sort of thing. It's not like 40, like that's the thing. You make all the jokes about over the hill with 40, and it's not only is it mildly inappropriate, it's also like it's just not true, especially in the modern context. The life expectancy is so good. There's just so much more richness out of life to enjoy. In fact, a vast majority of richness out of life to enjoy once you get to that point. In fact, so it's interesting. Right now, I'm in this place of transition. Country Squire Radio is over, as y'all know. And along with that, a lot of shows that I've been working on, a lot of the podcast work has been coming to a close. Some of that was scheduled and kind of by intentional, and some of that I kind of predicted happening. And then also some of that was it's just kind of planned. And even with some of the shows that I still have going on, I'm kind of looking at what does winding those down look like, at least for me. And part of that is because I've wanted to move on to new stuff. I wanted to move on to new projects. I've talked about that before. Hillbilly Piper 64. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Hillbilly Piper here going strong 64. And like, but you know what I'm talking about, right? They gave you a hard time when you were like winking at 40. This is very true. But that's the thing. So wanting to work on new things. I've talked about it before. There's no real reason to get into too much of it, but the big kind of next attempt is an immersive theater, and it's going well. We've got a director. I like the guy a lot. I worked with him a little bit before the pandemic when we were thinking about doing it then, and was very, very thrilled not only to get him back for the full production, but also just some of the work they've worked on over the last couple of years he's propelled his career in a big kind of way, and maintained a lot of the relationships that we had made early on with kind of our cast at that time, which I'm very grateful for, because to my detriment, I did not maintain those relationships, and I probably should have. Very good people person, much better than I am, and that's kind of what you want to partner with in this space. And also knows the theater industry in Houston as well. So getting him on board was a big one. Very, very excited to get him on board. The other aspect too is location. We've got one location that we're in talks with. We've got some other locations that we're meeting with and kind of floating around. And that's a big one. The location is going to be the largest expense out of everything, I have no doubt. Even though the set itself is going to be fairly involved. We're essentially making a miniature Westworld. But the space to put it in and the rent and whatnot is going to be the big kicker. All that to say, I was hoping to do this in October. In talks with our director and everything else, it looks like it's probably going to be early next year, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It gives us more of a runway, and that's perfectly fine. We've got the war chest. We're ready to go. And I'm grateful, very grateful, because this last couple of years, was a for those of us established in podcasting from an industry standpoint, the last couple of years were very much a boom year. If you were a hobbyist, it was kind of either it was kind of hit or miss. But if you were established, if you were able to create content, if you had kind of a production company essentially, it was good years. And so I tried to really kind of tuck away a large part of that, knowing full well that this era of my career was coming to a close, and the next thing was going to be bigger and riskier than anything I'd ever done before. And so, which is good, great. War Chest is ready to go, but it's all about time. I say all this to say this. So that all of kind of the work that I've done for the last 2 years is in the process of coming to a close, and mostly has been over the last couple of weeks and will be in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks here. And then the new phase of life, while I'm still doing prep and meeting folks and doing site visits and everything else, it's not as involved as the work that I've done in the past. And so there's this lull in my career that I'm experiencing. And it's fine. Like we're doing very fine. It's not a financial lull or anything else. Like God's grace, we're more than okay. So that's not it. It's really about time, because I now have all of this time, and it's not like a retirement or anything of that nature. It's just this kind of weird break, or weird kind of like season. And it comes right here at the tail end of my 30s, as I'm looking at my 40s, as I'm watching my receding hairline and trying to make decisions about that. And it also coincides, and I think this is kind of cool, with my dad retiring, because he's retiring this year. And so a lot of what I'm processing in like a microcosm of kind of this transition period of my career, but then also with all this time, he's dealing in a macro level, because his career is coming to a close, and he's dealing with a lot of the emotions and kind of the psychological mindset of trying to prep for that and what life looks like at that point. And so, it's been very interesting kind of sharing with him and talking with him as he's been going through this transition. And we both just have a lot of time, so we're able to talk about it. The other aspect too is that for the first time, yeah, I think for the first time, I'm going into a summer break with my kids where I'm going to have a ton of time. In the past, it was more like, okay, we like trying to come up with different ways to keep them not distracted, but busy, with games and lessons and that sort of thing to work on. And we kind of did a makeshift summer reading program every single year for them, and it's mostly so that they'd be busy so that I could work, and that was good. But this year, it's not as necessary. We've still got that because there's still work to be done. But I shared this out on Instagram, incognito on Instagram. I shared this out, but I thought it'd be kind of a fun little thing. We're doing we're doing a little summer business. It's not like a business, but it's like a summer business where I've been carving these little magic wands with my daughter, my oldest daughter, who's super into Harry Potter. She's about midway through the last book. It's been really fun watching her read that. And I never read the books, but my sister was big into the books, and I watched the movies. And so it's been fun knowing kind of the heavy moments and that she's kind of reading and tracking along with her. But she's gotten super into that, and so we bonded a lot over that. And so we started carving up these wands, and she wanted to do this little thing with her friend where they were selling stuff, and so we're gonna do a little shop it, like kind of a little yard shop and that sort of thing to sell them. And we'll probably sell a couple of them online and that sort of thing. So you'll probably see me post out about that. And I mean, don't get me wrong, these are not like, there won't be like highly expensive products or anything like that. They're just kind of fun little prop things, little costume type deals. And honestly, it's mostly teaching the kids about budgeting, creating a budget, cost of materials, gross versus net, what it means to work as a group, and also to have a business when you've got business partners, how to kind of deal with conflict of vision and that sort of thing. And so already it's been like a really good time for us, and a lot of fun. So I'll be posting out some more stuff about that. But I'm looking forward to that. Also, hopefully, going to take them down to the coast and go fishing a little bit more during the summer than we did in the previous years, which I think will be great. And do a lot more swimming with them. And so I'm really trying to take this time this summer to just spend with the kiddos, and just really, this, the time is precious, and I really want to put it there. But let's see. Oh man, invest now. Yes, 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 yes. Always. Yeah. The. Yeah, I've been saving for retirement since I think my like the first day of my first job. I'm a big fan of preparing ahead from that standpoint. Although retirement is still a little bit of a ways out. My wife and I, kind of our vision has been since years back, is to get a little place in New Orleans when we retire and have like a little, either like a micro hotel or like a B&B or something of that nature. Um, which I think we'd really like to do. I need to learn the hospitality industry a little bit more before we can really do that. But I'm hoping that maybe that'll come after the pass fail on the theater stuff. So we'll see what ends up happening. Yeah, I mentioned it before, but I'm drinking some of this Buffalo Trace. Sorry, I got the mosquitoes out. I had turned off the zapper because it can get kind of loud. I'm gonna turn that back on though. Now that they know I'm out here, they'll be coming for me. Oh, there you go. Almost immediately. Almost immediately. So how y'all doing tonight? Y'all doing good? Yeah, like I mentioned, I'm drinking a little Buffalo Trace. Picked up a bottle. We got a local market here, our local liquor store down the way. Hole in the wall spot, but man, oh man, they've got some good stuff. Went to like the local specs of the wine and spirits. You can't get Buffalo Trace right now, and you can't get Weller. You can't get any of that. I got the Weller. I think it's what's the green bottle special reserve. I think picked up a bottle of that, and I tucked it away in what has kind of become my growing little whiskey collection. Got some very nice things, and then also just a little couple of favorites that are kind of hard to get, and I'm kind of tucking away for a rainy day, that sort of deal. All right. I went down to Buffalo Trace, the distillery, about 2 weeks ago, and it was really nice. I went there with my brother-in-law. We actually posted some of the pictures up on Instagram. You can kind of see some of those, which is really cool. And it was really, I mean, such an amazing experience. I think actually speaking of which, I think for my 40th birthday, I might actually take a trip up there for a week and just do a bunch of the distillery tours, just because I had such a good time with it. But afterwards, um, I got back and, I was just sharing with my wife. I was like, at some point, I'd love to go to Scotland and do kind of the Scottish Isles type, whiskey or Scotch tours and all that kind of good stuff, Lagavulin and whatnot. And we have been trying for the last couple of years to go out of the country. We were supposed to go to Paris in 2020. We'd saved up for it. Obviously, nobody went traveling in 2020. And since then, we've had the money tucked away, and we just couldn't quite figure out when to have this like Paris trip. And then also, we just weren't that motivated, honestly. For whatever reason, like we just couldn't. I don't know. We kind of fallen out of love with that concept a little bit. And so talking to her about Scotland, we were like, oh, you know what? Instead of like we've been waiting trying to figure out this Paris thing, let's go to Scotland. So we take a look at it, and I started to realize like, oh, you know what? As much fun as Scotland would be, and I do want to do those, whiskey tour or those Scotch tours. I really want to go to Ireland because there's a lot of spots in Ireland I'd love to go to. There's a particular hat shop or hat manufacturing company out in Ireland that my grandfather got a lot of hats from, and I inherited, and they've become some of my favorite hats. As much as I love Gorham Brothers, my grandfather's old hats have really kind of become my new favorite hats. And so I would love to visit their company out there in Ireland. And there's also a little like an oyster bar that's like just south of there. And so we started looking at it, and I was like, oh, you know what else is in Ireland? In Dublin, this is a fair city where the pipes are so pretty. Peterson's out there. And I bet, I mean, I don't have like the pull like I used to have, but I don't not have it either. I think it would be really cool to visit Peterson in Dublin, maybe get an interview, and maybe like post it out to the podcast feed. Would I get in trouble for doing that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to give people false hope like the show's come back. It's definitely not. It would just be like a kind of like a I don't know, just like a fun thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Plus, it'd be really cool to kind of go behind the scenes there. Obviously never done it before, and um, anyway, I messaged John David. I was like, you think we got somebody who might be able to like, just kind of like show me the back, like get me into the back door, that sort of thing. But I don't know. We'll see. I think something like that could be kind of fun. Speaking of which, I got Dunhill's book. I think it's called The Pipe Book. It was a birthday gift from my parents, actually. They gave me that this year, which is kind of nice. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Uh, let's see. Anthony's saying, do it'd be a sweet interview. Father-in-law recently went to Ireland. Excellent. That's awesome. Yes. Keith, Bullet Bourbon. Okay, so let's talk about Bullet for a second here, because as much as so I love Bullet Rye. Bullet Rye is my go-to rye for cocktails, and I've got a big old bottle of it in the bar for that reason. But I will be honest with you, I am not a fan of their bourbon. I find it too spicy and in ways that distract from the overall kind of bourbonness of it. I don't know. That's probably not the best way to say it. I've just never been a big fan of their bourbon. I do like their rye, and I like the spiciness that's there in the rye. But I find that all of their bottles taste very similar. So the bourbon and the rye there's just a lot of similarities there, and I like something a little bit more smoother when it comes to bourbon. So yeah, but I am a huge fan of their rye. Huge fan of their rye. Let's see. Ben saying that'd be awesome. Yeah, I think so. What does I like about the rye? I like the pepperiness. I like the pepperiness of it. I like when I say spice, when I'm referring to Bullet, I don't necessarily mean spice in terms of heat. I mean spice in terms of like cinnamon, clove, like kind of the more Christmassy, baking-esque spices that I kind of get out of that one. Um, but I do think that pairs well with more of the spice heat that you get out of the rye. And I like that bite that you get there. Um, and so yeah, so I'm a big fan of that. Uh, and then also because I really like in terms of what cocktails I normally make. Well, okay, so my wife makes Vucare straight up. I know a lot of people do Vucare on the rocks. I don't like it on the rocks. We do it Vucare straight up, and which has a bit of rye and cognac in that, if I'm not mistaken. And then I like a Sazerac, which the way I make it, I do a cognac and rye equal parts. Typically, it's one way or the other. I like it. I like it both and. It does kind of have that Vucare-esque nature to it when you do it like that way, but obviously there's no Benedictine. Um, but I like that spice because I think that like the spiciness paired with more of something sweeter like a cognac, it kind of gives a nice little punch that's really solid. That's really solid. Let's see. Always come back to the Wild Turkey 101. I just for the first time got some rare breed. I have never had rare breed before, and just recently picked up a bottle the other day and have been really enjoying it. It's really enjoying it. I've been trying to kind of push myself a little bit in the kind of the high proof whiskeys and try to develop my palate a little bit, strengthen my palate in that area. And so I've been enjoying some of that rare breed. Let's see. Hobbiton Piper's last video was about visiting Peterson of Dublin while he was on business. Of course, he bought a pipe. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. I don't think I know Hobbiton Piper, so I need to check that out. Let's see. Some wonderful birthday wishes. Thank you so much, Mr. Ikes. Appreciate that. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, I've been trying to take care of myself. We started doing. I think I mentioned this on a previous video, but we started doing the Orange Theory thing. My wife and I, which is just awful, just terrible. Uh, and we're about to be next week. Yeah, next week we're about to be out of town for a big family reunion for a week. And so during that time, won't be doing the normal Orange Theory thing. So we're kind of tripling it up this week and tripling it up the week following, which is all going to add up to basically yesterday, really hard workout, and then the following day, doing a workout. Come on, guys. There she is. So after eating a ton of steak, and I'm not done drinking all the bourbon that I'm going to drink tonight. I'm gonna be a wreck tomorrow during the workout. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I think that's it. I just kind of wanted to come on, pop on real quick, say hey, enjoy a little bit of the Taps VIP, some of the Buffalo Trace, and you know, just kind of close out my birthday with y'all. Thank y'all so much for hopping on here for a little bit and hanging out with me. Really appreciate y'all, and really appreciate that. Did a Country Squire Radio. We mentioned this, of course, but the podcast is releasing archival episodes once a month on the 20th. So if you haven't already, be sure to pick up the episode that dropped a few days ago. I think it was our first ever Pipe Smoking 101. We'll, of course, have another one next month on the 20th as well. As I said, if I end up doing the Dublin thing, I know it's not the same thing as like me and John David, being together. So I know it's not the same type of deal. But if I end up doing something like that, I don't know if I'll. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I'm hopeful that we can kind of put something together there. I think that'd be really great. Oh man, thank y'all so much, Rob, Ron, Anthony. Y'all are awesome. Thank y'all so much for the birthday wishes there. But yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, and hopefully we'll see y'all in the future. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk soon.